you ready?
Yes. Chairman Thompson and members of the committee, my name is Peyton Barsel and I'm 16 years old. I'm here in support of AB 343, which mandates teachers to receive training on how to identify and support children in the classroom who are dealing with trauma. When I was 9, I was living what would appear to be a very normal life. My brother and I attended a small school where I had been going since I was 4. It felt like a second home to me. 2 weeks into 4th grade, my dad passed unexpectedly. I felt my normal, happy life come crashing down around me. My once supportive mom became a shell of a human being. I had no support at home. I wanted to escape the horror at my house, so I went to school the very next day, hoping to feel safe and cared for. But when I returned to school, I was not greeted with hugs or words of support. Instead, most people withdrew from me, avoiding even making eye contact. Even my teachers avoided me. I could only make the assumption that my behavior was causing this reaction and that it was my fault. Things only got worse from there. Whatever little acknowledgement of my situation I had initially received at school was over. Life was back to normal for everyone else, but the darkness in mine was expanding. My 5-year-old brother became my responsibility, as my mom was now working. He was being bullied at school. Kids were chasing him on the playground chanting, "I have a dad and you don't." He was so little and confused by everything. I knew that I had to protect him. Just weeks prior, I was a happy-go-lucky, popular girl with straight A's, and now I was thrown into this adult role with minimal support at home and no support at school. I became increasingly sad and distant. I couldn't focus in school, I never did my homework, and my grades dropped. I isolated myself rather than dealing with the hurt that came with my friends no longer wanting to spend time with me. My teachers must have seen what was going on, yet they did nothing to step in to help me or my brother. I know now that it wasn't because they didn't care, but it was because they didn't know what to say or how to help either of us. That isolation went on for years. I know I am not alone in my story. An estimated 1 out of 4 children in the United States will experience a traumatic event before the age of 16. Examples of this include child abuse and neglect, school and community violence, domestic violence, homelessness, bullying, traumatic loss, and medical trauma. A traumatic event can seriously interrupt a child's school routine as well as their ability to learn. They may have increased difficulties concentrating and may engage in unusually reckless or aggressive behavior. Students usually experience high levels of emotional upset, have lower grade point averages, and more reported absences from school than any other students. Additionally, recent research has established that children affected by traumatic events are significantly more likely to deal with chronic disease in adulthood, as well as social and emotional problems. The impact educators have on their students is not surprising, as students often spend more time at school than they do at home. Teachers are often the first line of defense when students are dealing with trauma. They're in a unique position to notice emotional and behavioral changes in their students. This training will focus on imparting basic skills and knowledge regarding the impact of trauma on children and their learning, their likely reactions, strategies for providing psychological first aid, and identifying mental health services in the school and community. This is not the same as training teachers to provide mental health treatment or therapy. My teachers, for example, could have appreciated the impact of bereavement on my learning and development, acquired strategies to bolster my learning and adjustment within the classroom, and offer empathy and support, all without being expected to provide grief counseling. Teachers and administrators can become capable at identifying children who may benefit from additional support and become knowledgeable about referral sources. Teachers may fear that when what they say to a child who has experienced a trauma could make the student's problems worse. In my experience, saying nothing is significantly more detrimental. When a teacher says, "How can I be helpful?" that is a powerful question. It conveys a recognition of pain and distress and a level of sympathy rather than judgment. It is an opening, even a lifeline to that kid. It is a way of saying, "I know you need help and I want you to get it." It doesn't mean that that teacher can fix whatever is wrong, but it does mean that that teacher will help connect the child with the care that they need. Some teachers may feel that they are already overwhelmed with training and the pressures of higher standardized test scores. Our educational system has prioritized children's cognitive development and emphasis on test scores at the expense of their social and emotional development. However, schools who have implemented the Collaborative District Initiative, a program that helps systematically integrate social and emotional learning into school curriculum, have seen higher standardized test scores, higher GPAs, and higher graduation rates. Providing this training will not only help students who are suffering feel supported, it will help reduce behavioral problems and distractions in the classroom, thereby making more time for academic lessons. The idea that anybody, let alone a child, could witness something like his father beating his mother in the evening and then come to school the next day and function in the classroom is simply unreasonable. 25% of our students have experienced something classified as a trauma. What they need is to feel safe and supported. If they do not get that, it seems likely that they will either withdraw, affecting their own ability to learn, or become a behavioral problem, affecting all the students' abilities to learn. If a school wants to get their test scores up, it seems prudent to address the issue of training teachers to support this part of the student population. Traumatized children are vulnerable. Teachers are the critical link to intervene with sensitivity and awareness. If the teacher's job is to teach the whole child, mental well-being and support is certainly part of that description. This bill is meant to give training to teachers, thus making their jobs easier, as well as helping children who are suffering in the classroom feel supported. Chairman Thompson, thank you very much for your time, and let me personally thank Assemblywoman Danielle Monroe Moreno for taking an interest in this very important topic and allowing the other children that you will hear from today and myself an opportunity to shine a light on it.
Thank you. Welcome.